Hello, I am Tiia, and I will talk a little bit about our True Curiosity project, which focused on marine litter in the small islands of Estonia. And just to say again that marine litter is one of very, very many pressures that people are putting in our marine environment. And if you talk about this marine litter, then it is defined as any persistent, manufactured, or processed solid material that is discarded, disposed, or abandoned in the marine and coastal environment. So we can find it nowadays every place, in the surface, in water column, in the floor, in biota, and on the beaches. And as already said before, it is in all sort of sizes. And when we talk about marine litter pollution, then of course the main focus is on plastic pollution. And globally, actually, the Baltic Sea region, it is in quite good situation. Most of the plastic waste is coming from the Asian areas. And in the Baltic Sea region, it's actually quite good. We have proper waste management. We have not so much population in our coastal areas, so it should be quite okay. But anyway, the population is growing, and the need for plastic and also different sorts of materials is growing. So we're just curious. We know that a lot of nice areas have become trash islands, that marine litter just travels from the sources very, very far. And knowing what's going on globally, we just wanted to know what is going on in our Estonian small islands, which are not inhabited by people. So in total, in Estonia, we have over 2,000 islands. So we had to make some kind of choice. And we made it so that our criteria were as follows. We had the minimal area for the islands, half a square kilometer. Then we wanted to have this grass and bushes present, so it wouldn't be only rock island. And we wanted to have the islands to represent different regions of Estonian coastal sea. And so we had 3 in the Gulf of Finland, and also in Väinameri area, in the Gulf of Riga, and also in these open areas which are open to the Baltic proper. And also it was very important that islands would lack human settlement. For the Gulf of Finland area, I marked these islands that they are located. One is in the entrance of the Gulf of Finland, Suur-Pakri Island. One is in the middle, Suur-Malusi, and the most easternmost was Uhtju Island. So our methodology was a little bit restricted. We couldn't go there as much as we wanted to, because they are like all these areas are about 10 kilometers away from the coast. And we also had a short project time. It was from March 2019 to December 2020. So our fieldwork was actually carried out in June 2019 to October 2020. And for most of the islands, the movement was prohibited during bird breeding period. So we started off with 12 islands, but we ended up with 13 islands that we visited 4 times, and one more island that we just visited 1 time out of curiosity once again. And when we already went to these far and the remote areas, then we wanted to get as much information about litter as possible. So we actually looked into the water area, we looked for the beaches, and we also looked for vegetation, because with water level raises and storms and winds, this litter is usually carried towards the inland. So yeah, we just made our regular beach litter, we took this regular beach litter survey area and we made it wider towards the sea and the vegetation. And we tried to collect information on macro litter, a bit of micro litter, and we also observed what are the effects for biota. So our beaches, we didn't focus on sandy beaches, because in an Estonian coastal area, also these moraine cliffs can be accumulation areas for litter. It's not only sandy areas. And as it turned out, the litter gets stuck between these stones very well, and then it is washed out from there, etc., etc. So it was actually a bit very, very interesting, especially for Suur-Pakri Island. So yeah, our beaches looked very different, and also our vegetated areas looked very, very different. And also these Juniperus communities, they are very, very good collectors of all kind of litter. So, about the results, actually there were not too much surprises, that most of the litter that we found was really indeed plastic. And but it was surprising that we didn't expect that much litter, to be honest. In total, we described over 12,000 litter items. And we removed about most of them, well, and in total weight, 854 kilograms. That means that they were mostly, these were light objects, but there were also some very, very heavy, and these put more weight to total weightness. And the different materials were present both in the beach and vegetation, and this was only a bit different for organic waste. That we found mostly on the beach, and not so much from vegetation, which is rather logical also, that it just disappears from the beaches. And if you look at the litter material composition in studying the islands, then there were some varieties, and especially for Arilaid and Pihlalaid, and that is actually there was before some buildings on these islands, so that's a bit shifted. But for others, mostly it is that plastic litter forms 60 to 70% of all the litter items, and that seems to be quite a rule. And if you look island-based, then most of the litter items we found in Uhtju Island, which is located in the Gulf of Finland, in Suur-Pakri Island, which is also located in the Gulf of Finland, and Suur-Malotsi and Salavamaa Islands. And but now if you look at litter weight, then it was most came from Suur-Pakri Island. And this Suur-Pakri Island, it's just on the entrance, and it's a large area, and it's a stony area. And I think we really went to the this zone where nobody had been before, and we were just two of us, and we went there and we stayed there for 6 hours, and all we could do was collecting the litter. And it was awful. For the first time, it was really like, is it going to be like this for every place? So it was awful. But luckily, it was not so worst for all the places. but it was that these Gulf of Finland areas and the islands that are open to the Baltic proper, they get more from the sea. So, if you walk, now if you talk about the main litter items and the best travelers, then plastic bags, plastic food containers, plastic pieces, and plastic bottles formed about 50% of all found litter. About cigarette butts, which are a huge problem in our urban areas. Altogether, we found 25 from our visited islands. And in some cases, we could say that they come from boats or nearby harbors, or they could also be left there by some visitors. What was also interesting was the quite big number of balloons, both rubber and plastic balloons, and shoes and boots also. And also what is glass bottles and glass jars, they are also quite typical. And in Suurpakri Island, in this Gulf of Finland area, there was this, I think we collected most of the alcoholic bottles from there, quite expensive ones actually, and all set and all in one piece, not broken. So, about spring 2020 and lockdown due to COVID-19, well, there was this question about the masks, how do they affect the biota, etc., etc. Well, within our research period, we did not find these new masks on the islands yet. Although we had masks in total 5, but these were like, I believe they are from the boats and from the harbors, and if you just paint or do something with the boats, then they can get lost. And we also found some rubber gloves, but not too much. However, since summer 2020, there was new type of litter in Uhtju and Malutsi Island, and these are wet wipes. And wet wipes have been with us for almost as long as plastic items, or plastic itself. But this COVID lockdown certainly brought a new use of those as just wiping hands. And for Uhtju and Malusi, it is also important to note that probably these wet wipes were carried there by birds. So, if you talk about amount of litter per 100-meter long beach section, then there is a set threshold value of 20 litter items. That means that if there are less than 20 litter items per 100-meter beach section, then it should be in good environmental status. Well, for our beaches, we can actually say that we saw the decrease in the litter amount. We went there, we collected, and by the 4th time when we visited, Suurpakri was already in good environmental status. But it's not perfect, but at least it's something, and now we know that the load is not that massive, but it's still there. And also for the vegetation, well, there are some issues with the vegetation because it depends on the time when you go there and how much you see, etc., etc. But and thus we didn't see the decrease in the number of litter items as much as we wanted to, but still it's promising that if you clean it once, then it should be gone away. So we also checked for marine litter and biota, and well, yes, there are some signs that well, it is found in bird pellets, and it can be used also as nest material. We didn't find any animals dead because of litter directly. So here is just to show how it was used as a nest material. So I think I'm running out of time, so just to keep in mind that we also found microlitter in sediment. It was not much, but it was still there, up to 6 particles per 100 grams of sediment. And most common was, again, plastic fibers or glass pieces. And in the water area, both plastic fibers and glass and metal pieces could be found. So to quickly sum it up, well, we don't see much of the litter floating around, but still it travels. It does travel. And for Kirjurahu, which was in Gulf of Riga area, with 2 months' time, we could found 8 more plastic bottles. So that's an average rate that we could see there. And is this, I think, very many areas that we visited were nature-protected areas. And we are not allowed to go there, but litter is still there. So I don't know, but I think we should rethink about our protection rules and how to remove marine litter also from these areas. And it's an endless fight, for sure. But there might be some edible, nice surprises as well. And it might be also that eventually we'll see a pure coastline. So thank you. It was a huge work.
Thank you very much.